Well, my name is Father Brinsley McNamara, and welcome to the Weird Ireland podcast. My new priestly title isn't because I've been ordained recently, nor because I've had a child. Instead, it's because I'm dressed up like a priest for the day at Tedfest 2025. Father Ted is a 1990s Irish comedy TV programme which followed the misadventures of Father Ted Crilly, Father Dougal Maguire, Father Jack Hackett, and their housekeeper, Mrs. Doyle, as they got themselves into all sorts of hilarious situations, like that time Ted and Dougal represented Ireland in the Eurovision, or that time a big group of priests got lost in Europe's largest lingerie section, or when Ted got the milkman fired so Dougal became the new milkman, only for the former milkman to plant a bomb on the milk van in revenge. The show took place on the fictional Craggy Island off the west coast of Ireland, and it's sometimes witty humour, other times absurdist comedy poked fun at traditional Irish society and the Catholic Church in Ireland of the time. The show was a huge hit, and I can't imagine any other Irish comedy show being considered as influential or iconic. Father Ted is such a big deal in Ireland, there's even Tedfest, an annual festival on Inis Mór in County Galway to celebrate the 30-year-old TV show, which is where I am right now with Peter Phillips to have a TED Talk. How are you doing today, Peter?
Oh, they're grand. How are you? You enjoying Tedfest?
You know what? I was initially going to come here on the Friday. Today's the Saturday of the fest, and so I've actually just got off the boat. An hour and a bit ago or something like that. So far it's great. People are calling me, "How are you, Father?" as I'm walking past the street the whole time, and I can see the appeal of it, to be honest.
It becomes normality. We're very proud of Tedfest. It's been going 18 years now.
Yeah, is that 18 years or 18 times? Do you know what I mean?
Both now. We missed 1 year. Weirdly, we were the only festival to take place in Ireland in 2020.
During COVID?
No, it was about a week before COVID. I remember we were out here because we're always late February, early March. And we were watching it on the television going, Jesus, what's going on there? And then a week later, it was shut down.
You could have been stuck out here for a lockdown or something.
Yeah. And the year before, it was when Ukraine kicked off and everybody's going, it's going to be a nuclear war. And I was thinking, well, if it was a nuclear war in Europe, probably the only part of Europe that would survive would be the Aran Islands. So can you imagine repopulating the gene pool with people from Tedfest?
With priests. Well, so-called priests.
Oh, people at Tedfest. Yeah.
All right, so 18 years. So what was the first year?
2007 was the first year at Tedfest.
Have you been involved ever since then?
I have, yes.
Brilliant. Yeah, okay. And so let's so I've filled in the listeners a little bit on the TV show Father Ted in case they didn't know what that was. Can you give us a bit of a lowdown on the festival itself? It's normally, you said, late February or early March, and it's 3 or 4 days. So how does it work?
Yeah, it's 4 days now. It extended to the Thursday night kicks Tedfest off. Yeah, it's always the last week of February, first week of March, which we wanted to do, for two reasons. One, because we wanted to create the feel of Craggy Island. Mm-hmm. And it gives the island a big economic boost, in all seriousness. Normally their season wouldn't kick off probably Paddy's Day and then into Easter. So their busiest weekend of the year is actually out of season. So they welcomed us.
Brilliant, yeah. No, I was wondering that. Why does it happen in? Why does this happen in March? Because quite a lot of people camp in tents because there's a campsite here, and I was like, what's that like? Camping at this thing.
Yeah, it recreates. So well, ironically, the weather's been fantastic this year. Normally it's blowing a gale. It's horizontal rain is the norm at Tedfest.
And what kind of activities happen here then? What do we guess?
That's an ecumenical matter.
Oh, here we go.
You see, the premise of Tedfest, when we, and it was myself and a friend called Fergal McGrath, who came up with the idea, the premise was we wanted to make the opposite of a TV convention. Mm-hmm. We didn't want to be sitting in City West, all comfortable and, watching reruns of programs and analysing them and people having selfies taken and autographs signed with people who had a walk-on part and this, that, and the other. It was the opposite because we knew the cast wouldn't come out here. They'd be mad to. Mm-hmm. And we always said it's actually not about Father Ted. It's about Craggy Island. I remember it was during a radio interview. I remember saying come and live the Craggy Island dream. And I think that's what we've done. It's you don't see. I don't think you'd see a video of Father Ted here. Uh-huh. People have just taken the concept of Father Ted and taken it in whatever surreal direction they feel that it should go.
And so, in which case, you meant that there's no screenings of episodes here during it. No. Yeah.
We have I always call it the Holy Trinity of events are. Ted's Got Talent, which we came up with Ted's Got Talent a year before Simon Cowell came up with Britain's Got. We should sue Simon Cowell, actually.
Did you? If you copyright it,
yeah. And that's a wonder to behold. Then we have the Craggy Cup, which is the five-a-side football match that's played on the beach. Not this year because the tides didn't work out. And then we have the Lovely Girls. So the only real connection with Father Ted the TV show is the Lovely Girls contest that takes place on the Saturday night. The rest it's just bizarre. I mean, I think today they've got I'm a Priest, Get Me Out of Here. Yeah, which is some sort of game show. I hate to think what they're going to do in that. We've got the World Buckaroo Championships, which surprised me because there's not a World Buckaroo Championship, so we can actually say Craggy Island, which is what Inis Mór becomes for 4 days in March, is hosting the world's inaugural World Buckaroo Championship. Is it Sport of Kings? I think.
I was thinking, is this a skillful? Is this a game of skill?
It's a very skillful game, I think. Buckaroo, dexterity, holding your nerve. I think it was. I don't know if it was Ted or Dougal described it as the game of kings, the sport of kings.
I know Dougal plays it at some point, and he must do so. I can't think exactly, but I know it's in it. At some point.
There is a father. There's always a vague Father Ted connection to what we do, but they're not full on.
Yeah. So the Lovely Girl, that's tonight. I seen some Lovely Girls.
The Lovely Girls. They have the parade of Lovely Girls, which is down on the beach this morning.
For anyone that doesn't know, there's an episode in Father Ted where they host the Lovely Girls contest, and
Famously.
I think it's sort of making fun of the Rose of Tralee or something or a pageant like that.
Yeah.
How does it work here? What's
pretty similar?
Yeah.
They've got to be lovely. They've got to make a plate of sandwiches, which are rigorously measured to the right size, and they've got to have lovely talent.
Right. And there's a winner, of course.
There's always a winner. Yes.
Brilliant. And the football, the five-a-side, that was this morning. That already went down, I think. Yeah.
That was the priest versus nun five-a-side football match.
Right, groovy. And then the Ted's Got Talent, was that last night?
That was last night.
Right.
Yeah. It was won by a lady who did Mrs. Doyle Mrs. Doyle rapping, which was that was quite interesting.
And so in which case, because I'm dressed up like a priest right now. It's very common to see people dressed up like priests. You see the odd few nuns. What other costumes? You get Mrs. Doyle?
You get priests and Mrs. Doyles. You get Pat Mustards.
I've seen a Pat Mustard so far,
But some of them go a bit bizarre, a bit off-piste. I mean, I remember a guy one year and he had a Spider-Man's outfit and a terry towel nappy. Of course, he was the Spider Baby.
That is something to,
we get people dressed as bricks. I saw two women in the spa yesterday morning dressed as peanuts, inflatable peanuts.
That's a good one now.
Yeah, which is a dream, I think. Somebody had a dream.
That's at the beginning of the Christmas episode, I think. It's before the intro. It's like a gag before the intro.
It was a hen party here a few years ago. And they were very clever because 2 of them were dressed as rabbits the first night. And then the following night, 8 of them were dressed as rabbits. And then the third night, they were all dressed as rabbits.
Oh, I'm only getting that now. A lot of these, for anyone listening, these are like, especially like the Spider Baby, that's like a really deep Father Ted reference. These are all like, some of them are just one-off Father Ted references, and there's the rabbit one where they keep multiplying in the house. I didn't get that for a minute when you said it. That is clever.
They are very clever, the people that come to Tedfest.
You've got am I right in saying there's other events on the mainland? Is there stuff going on in Galway and London too, I thought?
Massimo's bar in Galway always do a big Father Ted table quiz. And we've been running actually as long as Tedfest. The first year of Tedfest, I can remember thinking, and I'm Welsh, there's the great irony of Tedfest. And I remember when Father Ted came out, and of course we didn't know the actors in it in the UK. We didn't know Dermot Morgan and Ardle were stand-up comedians. People like Joe Rooney and Tommy Tiernan were in it. They were all stand-ups. And a lot of the casting was from the Irish world, the Irish stand-up scene. So we decided to run a competition for emerging stand-up talent. And at the time, there was Edinburgh Fringe famously used to do a competition. He used to call it the Perrier Awards.
The what now? Perrier?
Perrier. Perrier, the water, the fizzy water company sponsored it. And we thought we'd have a sort of like a dip our hat to that, and we called it the Toilet Duck Award, which of course is Father Jack's favourite tipple.
Whenever he's out of anything else.
The Toilet Duck Awards has been running, so we run the Toilet Duck Award was at the Roisin Dub on Thursday night. So it was that's been going as long as Tedfest.
Brilliant. And was I right saying there's one in London, or is there something going on in London?
Yeah, we ran it in London. The London Irish Centre in Camden asked us to run it. And yeah, I was a bit reluctant. We did it, and it worked, but it didn't have. You see, what makes Tedfest are the people, but it's also the location. You've got to be a particular type of person to fight your way out to the Aran Islands, beautiful as they are, but this time of the year. And once you're there, once you're here, you're sort of isolated. And in London, we had exactly the same people. The demographics were exactly the same. But it didn't have the sort of inclusivity because people just, the bar closed at midnight. People got on the Northern Line and went home and came back the next morning, and it just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
You didn't get the two peanuts standing in the Spar shop and Darth Vader standing at the cash point, and it's So it's tempting financially to take it to the mainland and run it in a bigger venue, bigger place, but it wouldn't work. Wouldn't be the same. It would work, but it wouldn't be the same.
All right. No, well put, because it's the kind of thing that would probably fly well in Galway or something like that. Yeah,
but it wouldn't be the same.
Right, and there's no problem getting people out here. Enough people do come to this,
Yeah, I mean, what limits the attendance at Tedfest is actually the number of beds on the island.
Yeah.
You get a few lunatics that will go camping, but otherwise, you're limited to the amount of tourist accommodation on the island.
Yeah, and I was on the ferry over, and of which there's only one out. There's one out in the morning.
There's two ferries a day. Yeah.
Two going in, two going out.
Yeah,
oh, really?
Yeah.
When's just actually around it? So when's the ones back? Actually, is there two going back?
One back is April 2nd, I think.
Oh,
no, you get back twice a day.
Yeah.
And our biggest concern is always whether the ferries run. But over 18 years, they're pretty hardcore, those ferries. I think we've only had 2 sailings cancel. I
was going to say that. Is there ever a disaster for ones where the weather's that bad?
You can fly here as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very cool way to get out here. It's an 8-minute flight.
Yeah.
It skims over the water. Little 8-seater plane.
And that runs in March. That runs all year round, does it?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
But you see that we had a couple of people coming out on Thursday, and the plane didn't fly because the fog closed in. So it's an interesting way to get here.
And when I was on the ferry, actually, I forgot to say this. There was a bunch of other priests. Naturally, I'm assuming coming up to this, they weren't actually going to Tedfest. Technically, they were dressed as priests. They were coming up for the day. They were camping, but they weren't ticketed or that kind of thing. And they've every right to do that. But what are they missing out on if they don't?
Well, you'd miss out on the main Tedfest events, which are ticketed. Most of them at the Aran Island Hotel.
Which is where we are right now, actually recording this. Yeah.
I mean, people do come out. It's quite a busy weekend because there's 3 other pubs on the island.
Yeah. And what do because there's other tourists attending, there's other tourists coming to the island that have nothing to do with Tedfest and maybe don't know what's going on.
That's always the greatest sense of amusement to us is when you come across a couple of random tourists that know nothing about Tedfest. And they're usually American, and they're usually sort of into prehistoric history because they've studied Dunangus and they make this sort of trip to the Aran Islands. And then they just see all these priests and nuns cavorting. And if they ever ask us what it's about, the team have a stock answer saying that the island's actually owned by the Catholic Church, and every priest and nun in Ireland gets a free visit out here once a year, no questions asked,
to do what they want, to just be able to let loose. I honestly, I was going to say that because one of my buddies told me that a year ago, and I wasn't sure where he heard that from, but that is actually the loaded answer like that. Yeah.
That's the loaded answer. And that's the answer that goes back to America.
Since that started in 2007, we're in it's 2025 now. Yeah. How has the festival changed over time? What was Tedfest 1 like?
same as Tedfest 2, same as Tedfest 18. It hasn't changed.
Really?
Honestly, it hasn't changed.
Really? Wow.
Now, the first year we ran the Lovely Girls contest. We didn't do Ted's Got Talent till the second year. The idea came up sometime after the first Tedfest. The Craggy Cup, the five-a-side football match, that was actually a peacekeeping exercise on the Aran Islands to stop a civil war breaking out.
Oh, really?
Because we came to Inis Mór simply because Fergal and I and a mutual friend who had a pub out here, PJ O'Flaherty, who owned a hotel in those days. So we came to Inis Mór. That was the only reason. And there was a tabloid newspaper stirring it up, saying Inis Shear. You see, Father Ted was actually filmed. All the outdoor scenes are filmed in County Clare. They didn't film. There wasn't an island. In fact, I remember hearing Graham Linehan talk years ago, and they said, was it based on an island? And he quite rightly said, no, it's an amorphous mass of all of the islands off the coast of Ireland. Sometimes in the series it's a tiny island, sometimes it's big enough to have Chinatown. We built Chinatown once up in Dunangus. Yeah, that was quite a weird one.
Ages. That's a bit of a trek from Kilronan.
Yeah. But the opening scenes of Father Ted are filmed on Inis or over Inis Shear. That shipwreck is the Plassey. It's still out on Inis Shear. So the tabloid newspaper was stirring up a war. I remember I was in a taxi in Dublin a couple of weeks before Tedfest started, and the taxi driver said to me, just minding my own business, sitting in the back of the taxi, he said, "Jesus, have you heard about those mad feckers on the Aran Islands?" I said, "No, what's that about?" He said, through the newspaper, and it just said Aran Islands at war. And I was on Jerry Ryan. It used to be a brilliant radio show. Jerry Ryan, you can thank for Tedfest because he got behind it.
Really?
Yeah, and I remember doing an interview, and I was trying to diffuse it, and I said, "Oh, I'll tell you what then, we'll settle it once and for all. We'll stage a five-a-side football match on the beach, Inis Shear against Inis Mór. Winner takes all. Whoever wins the football match will then get Tedfest.
We'll get
forever."
Tedfest, okay.
Well, I thought that would diffuse it. And then Paddy Powers got hold of it and through some sponsorship, and they brought Tony Cascarino and John Aldrich out. It became a massive news story. And Inis Mór won it 2-1. Disputed to this day.
Really?
It's a bigger cause of football dispute in Ireland, bigger than Thierry Henry.
Really?
Is the very, very dubious goal that won it for Inis Mór. Of course, in those days, we have VAR now, obviously, we had our five-a-side football match. Yeah, it's still hotly contested.
Did it come to blows at any point?
It comes to blows all the time. Yeah, it's basically it's only a ceasefire.
Yeah.
The ceasefire's just barely holding.
Jesus. And Inis Man is like the DMZ, the demilitarized zone between them.
Well, weirdly, we did do a boat trip to Inis Man. In Inis Man, if you speak to anybody on the Aran Islands and you ask them about Inis Man, they always give you the same answer. Oh, they keep themselves to themselves there.
It's the only the three Aran Islands, Inis Mór, the biggest one, Inis Man, the second biggest one, Inis Shear, the smallest one.
I don't speak Irish, but I do know that Mór means big. Shear means little, and Man means middle.
Maybe, I never analysed that.
The elders, the druids out here weren't that creative in how they named their islands.
No, they say, the big one, the little one,
They got a big
one.
island.
Honestly,
what about one? We'll call that the middle island. And they'll keep themselves to themselves there.
I've never been. I've been to both. I've been to Inis Mór, Inis Shear. I've never been to Inis Man. People don't really go there that much for tripping around the place. It's not really. It's not that you can't. It's just people don't really do it.
Themselves to themselves.
Yeah, Inis Shear. That would have been a different operation to run Tedfest there, or would it have worked?
Yeah, we did run it there once.
Really?
Yeah, we
cool.
did one year. I don't know what got into us. We ran it on Inis Mór, and then a week later we ran it on Inis Shear.
In the same year? My God.
Yeah, never again. But, no, Inis Mór, it's the natural home for Tedfest. It's not going to go anywhere.
No, it doesn't. I mean, I was in Inis Mór twice last year. I stayed overnight one of the times. It is a ball of a time being on Inis Mór. It was more during the summer when I was here. The weekend, the pubs are busy. There's so much to see.
Watties is a great,
mega. I was mega, absolutely mega.
Well, that's still run. Pete O'Flaherty, who was our friend who owned a hotel in those days, now runs Watties, Watties is too small to host Tedfest, but we still go there for a drink.
So I came from Mullingar today for Tedfest. How far have you heard of people? Have people come from other countries often to attend Tedfest over the years?
Oh, Gdansk.
In Poland, yeah.
No, we get people from Australia, a couple of Americans. Doris. I just saw Doris just walk past. She's German.
All right.
And I think, well, how did you get into Father Ted? Apparently, she takes in students. She had some Irish students years ago that got her into Father Ted. So she comes. Yeah. But you do get a few. Yeah. Guy, he hasn't been for a couple of years. Marky Sledge is his name. He's from Mississippi.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
I lived in America for years. About 5 years. They don't get Father Ted in America.
They don't understand it. No.
No.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like, it's funny because loads of people learn and love Trailer Park Boys. Not that that's American, it's Canadian, but loads of people love Trailer Park Boys, the TV show. But whenever I've said that to Canadians, they're like, they're surprised that we get it because it's apparently there's not a very Canadian things going on that you wouldn't really get unless you've lived there. But maybe the same with Father Ted. In which case, is this the only festival or convention for Father Ted like this in the world? Is there other ones like this?
There was one started up a couple of years ago in Ellis Diamond at the Falls Hotel, which has a direct connection because that's where the cast and crew all stayed when they were on location.
Right.
Ellis Diamond. And I quite sarcastically, I think in hindsight, called it Tedfest Light. It was for people who weren't hardcore enough to come out to the proper Tedfest. No, I think I see lovely girls stuff, and I know or Joe Rooney and Pat McDonald do Father Ted stuff. But no, no, there isn't. And I don't think you see. I could speak as a Welshman. I could be sort of one. I'm half a step removed from this. Father Ted to the Irish goes much deeper than a television program. You know, in Wales, we love Gavin and Stacey. You know, in England, Britain loves When He Fools and Horses and Fawlty Towers and Friends as a TV show, you know. But there's something about Father Ted that's ingrained in the Irish DNA. And I was talking to some academics a couple of weeks ago. I was involved with a totally different hat on. I was involved in an academic conference. And I was saying you should do an academic conference about Father Ted, not looking at the comedy writing or the TV program, but looking at the role it played in Irish social history. Because I do think it sort of had a key role to play in the repositioning of Irish social society in the 90s. That's when you had the Celtic Tiger, you had the football and Jack Charlton and the team and everything. But I think it played a significant role. And the affection for Father Ted in Ireland goes much deeper than a bloody good TV show.
What kind of impacts do you think it's had? Like, what changes it made kind of socially, if there's anything pinpointable like that? I
think, okay, I've got to be contentious here.
All
but
right,
I'm
let's
Welsh,
hear it.
I can say it. I'm not a Catholic and I'm not Irish. I think it sort of gave permission for Irish society to laugh at some of the absurdity of the Catholic Church. And it sort of broke a bubble, I think. You know, suddenly, I had an Irish girlfriend back in the 80s. I can remember coming to Ireland. You know, the church had a pretty tight control over society. Now it doesn't. And I think that would have happened anyway. But I do think Father Ted had a role in accelerating that process.
I'd say you could be onto something
please
there.
Discuss.
Yeah.
I want your papers in by Friday.
Here's the funny thing for me, because I was born in 92. So I'm not of the generation to be able to see that change.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Look, there you go. It's I think we've never closely studied it, but I'd say the average age of people coming to Tedfest has actually increased over the years.
All right.
Not just naturally. I just think there's a higher proportion of people about my age.
Right.
But an awful lot of people at Tedfest will be in their early 30s who wouldn't have been old enough to remember the TV show when it first came out.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But of course, the TV show's never gone away.
It's never gone away. No, the Christmas special, it's primetime TV on Christmas Eve, the Christmas special of Father Ted in Ireland, absolutely. You mentioned about this isn't the place, the kind of convention for having, like, you know, stars of the show coming in, but has it ever happened at any point, like some of the, not even just the cast, but even like some of the producers or showmakers showing up?
Well, funny enough, this year, I mean, we've had Joe Rooney's been out a few times, but Joe came out as a stand-up comedian.
And he's Father Damo,
He was Father Damo. Yeah. So we didn't bring him out as Father Damo, but obviously, you know. And Pat McDonald, who's a fantastic stand-up, who I know, and I said, God, wouldn't it be good to do... You see, he isn't out this year. He's been out for the last few years. He comes out and he presents Blind Date. A Blind Date has no connection with Father Ted, but he does it as Owen McLove.
I was going to ask who he was in the show again. He's Owen McLove, yeah.
But this year we got Lisa Evans coming out. Lisa was the producer of the, I think, Series 2 and Series 3 and the Christmas special.
Did she just have a book out by any chance?
Yes,
yeah.
I don't
very
think it was
recently.
by chance. It was, I don't think she's coming out by chance. So, I think...
so what's she going to be doing here? Is she doing a talk or that kind of thing?
She's coming out... she's coming out tonight for tomorrow. I'm interviewing. I'm doing your job.
Oh,
tomorrow.
really? Yeah. All right.
I'm doing my Parky bit. I'm doing a Q&A with her.
What's a Parky?
Parkinson.
Oh, right. What's a Parkinson?
He was a broadcaster.
Oh,
he used to interview people.
Oh, right. It's not my ear, right?
Not your ear. No. Yeah, none taken.
We already mentioned at the very beginning. You said that would be an ecumenical matter, which is, if anyone didn't get that's a very, very popular quote from the TV show. What other quotes are you most likely to hear at Tedfest?
Oh, careful now.
Down with this sort of thing. Careful now. Yeah. You know, it's funny that you mentioned about you know, maybe people do an academic study on Tedfest at some point, or Father Ted in general at some point, because I only learned recently there's active podcasts, more than one active podcast all about the fandom of Father Ted.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
And are you yourself a big fan of the show? Have you seen it all and know good few bits of it?
I like to think I am, but I bow at the kneel at the feet of people who are much bigger fans of Father Ted than me.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't get far in the quiz on the Sunday night.
Do you get real hard? I mean, of course, we're at Tedfest, and you have to come to Inis Mór. You must get the real hardcore fans and know everything about the show. Yeah,
absolutely.
Is there people that come multiple years over and over again?
Yes, but not as many as you think. It's because the attendance is at 300-400. You would have thought that perhaps it's the same people every year.
Yeah.
And it's not. We've got a hardcore, maybe sort of 20 or 30 people that do come every year.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed over the years, there's a lot of people who have been once. And I think it wrecks them. And I think it takes them about 5 years to come back. And then you've got people that are coming first time.
Yeah.
But they'll always say to me, I was talking to a couple yesterday, said, this is fantastic. We didn't know what to expect. And we're just being included. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a very inclusive church.
Yeah. You've got this is a bit of an obvious question. You might have gotten this a few times. My favorite episode is it's an obvious answer, but the Pat Mustard episode is my favorite one. It's just joke after joke after joke. Do you got a favorite one?
I like I think it's called Hell. It's the one with the caravan holiday.
Oh,
the one with Graham Norton in it.
Classic, total classic. Yeah. That was a real caravan park, and I think it's still a caravan park. It's in Clare. Yeah. It's on the coast. Yeah. Oh, let me see here. I think I've gone through all my questions and all that kind of thing. And I don't want to keep you waiting or anything. You know, you might be busy today, or you might have had a big session last night, or the rugby might be. Well, no, that's not.
Well,
on
the
for
rugby,
a bit.
yeah.
Yeah. Is Wales on this weekend?
We don't talk about rugby in Wales.
Really, no.
Much just at the moment. No. Women's football is our new national sport.
Oh, fair play. Well, Peter, is there anything you want to plug for
No? Well, actually, I will. I will
go ahead.
Plug because I have finally, after a few years, been persuaded to write the story of Tedfest.
Oh, okay, a book.
A book. Yeah. I've got my own book coming out. I think it's June. I think it's due to come out. Tedfest, the truth and nothing but the truth, because it also covers the second year of Tedfest, Well, the first year at Tedfest, I'll finish on this one story.
Yeah, go for it. Absolutely, yeah.
Jerry Ryan got behind Tedfest in the first year, which is why it took off to such an extent. And Paddy Powers got involved. And Paddy Powers, apart from sponsoring the football, bought the milk float that was used in the episode, the actual milk float. And they brought it out, put a Paddy Power branding on it, and brought the milk float out. And it became a sort of quite a sort of press thing. There were lots of photographs because the thing was knackered and you had to push it everywhere. So there were lots of photographs in the Irish press of people at Tedfest pushing this milk float around. And the Monday morning after Tedfest, we were due to go on the Jerry Ryan show. And Jerry was saying to me, "Oh, come on, you said you can't keep it on that stupid island. You got to bring it to the mainland." It was the same answer I've just given you. I said, "Well, it wouldn't be the same, Jerry, you know."
Yeah.
I said, "But if Paddy Powers here will sponsor it," and their marketing guy was standing next to me on the show, and he's looking at me. I said, "If Paddy Powers will sponsor it, we'll take their milk float to the mainland, and for 40 days and 40 nights, we'll bring Tedfest to the mainland."
Mm-hmm.
And it turned into a push. We pushed the milk floats from Galway all the way around Ireland back to Galway for 40 days. And it was organised by Down Syndrome Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
And it raised about £500,000.
Wow.
It raised awareness of Down syndrome. By the time we got to Dublin, they closed O'Connell Street. It was a massive event.
When was this? What year was this?
2008.
Oh, sorry, it's the second year. Okay,
yeah. So we finished it. It finished on the day before Tedfest, and how we got away with it, I don't know. So I've been on. People have been on to me for years to write that story. You couldn't make it up. What happened on that trip, and how Tedfest came about. So yeah. There you go.
Is there a name for this book? Or is it going to be?
I think the title's good. We were talking about this to the publishers. I think it'll be Tedfest: The Truth, but nothing.
You were saying
the truth and nothing but the truth
by Peter Phillips.
Yeah,
brilliant. Who's the publisher? Can I ask? I've got a book out as well.
I can't say it at the moment.
Okay, no worries. Yeah. No worries. Just out of interest. Yeah. All right. Well,
look at who's publishing Lisa Evans's book.
I'll have to look that up. I'll have to look that up. All right. Well, look, Tedfest, it's the end of February or the beginning of March every year.
Yep.
We're going to have a Tedfest 2026, no doubt.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Tedfest.org, that's the website.
Yeah, tedfest.org. And on Instagram, it's
Tedfest HQ.
Tedfest HQ, I think it is the handle on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Well, Peter, thanks very much for being part of the
Pleasure.
podcast. Thank you very much. I want to thank you, the listener, for listening as well. If you enjoyed this podcast, you got this far, why not think of giving it a rating? Thanks for listening, and see you somewhere else in the Weird Ireland podcast.